Tonight we pay tribute to a very special individual, a sage that was in our midst for so many years, a student of the Mir Yeshiva in Europe who came over to the shores of the United States many years ago and joined the Young Israel of YIWB 51st and Bayswater.
As everyone knows, my dad really had a great love for Young Israel, and I thought of one thing right away. Years ago, I'm going back maybe 30 years now, we were invited to a bar mitzvah in one of the smaller shuls of the community, which will remain nameless, and you can guess though. And at the end of the service, the president gets up, and I was sitting next to my father. I was a teenager, and the president gets up and says, we'd like to thank Rabbi Post for coming. It's a pleasure to have him here, and we hope to see him again. And as my father was smiling to the president at the side of his lips, he says to me, which means, like, I'll see him, I'll tell him, like, there's no way I'm coming here again. He never wanted to step foot out of Young Israel for any reason. That was his shul for the 50-odd years almost 50 years that they were there.
I was always able to rely on him when we needed a rabbi to lead a shir or an event in the shul. Later on, as a gabbai, I knew that if we ever needed a Baal Kareh, he was there and ready to help.
A Yid, a humble Yid. He was so humble that we didn't even know how big of a Talmid Chacham he really was. A Jew who with Mesiras Nefesh would travel very far to make an honest living for his family, and yet every spare moment was given over to Limud HaTorah.
Much has been said about Rabbi Post, knowledge of Torah, Yiddishkeit, but there's another couple of other sides to Rabbi Post. Number one is he was a chess champion, and he was very proud of that fact. He taught his sons how to play chess, and they became excellent chess players.
What we remember is the chess games and the gin rummy games, the Sunday nights in the summer. This is the stuff that you remember, and it's important for fathers to take the time to play with their kids.
The example that he gave over for young and old alike, and what it meant to be a God-fearing Jew and a Talmid Chacham, is what he stood for.
But one of the things that I remember making an impression upon me as a child was his, despite not being a macher, and despite not having any kind of salary to brag about, or to not brag about, but he always had a sense of dignity. Meaning, if the bosses at his work were treating people not right, even if it wasn't him that was at the butt end of it, but if they were treating the goyim not right, my father would make a stand. And I can remember one time he came home and told us that he walked into the boss's office and the boss was on the phone, and he slammed his hand on the desk and all the boss's stuff was shaking, and he demanded air conditioning for the workers. It's not right, to treat workers like that. And I think what people don't really know about my father is everybody knows Josh and Ellie, the Post Boys, who did all the Purim plays for the Young Israel, and and had all the comedy stuff. But in our house, my father was probably a funnier comedian than both of us.
Rabbi Post had a great sense of humor. Whenever things were going on, things were hectic, like doing a kiddush or whatever, he'd always say something in my ear, extremely funny, and his children carried on that sense of humor. His boys, Josh and Ellie, and his daughters, Suri and Frady, all have funny sense of humors and are a pleasure to be around.
Okay, he was very able to do the type of slapstick comedy that you don't see that much anymore, more like from the silent movies. He was able to do all these mannerisms and gestures and put on like an act, like Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin.
He, together with his wonderful Eishes Chayil, led so many projects in our shul, as his wife is so involved in the sisterhood. And together with their wonderful children, added so much to the different Yavim Tovim here in the Young Israel. Tonight we pay tribute to Rabbi Israel Post.